everything, man. I had the pictures and everything to prove it. 5-car wreck involving a motorcycle. The van shot across the freeway. I jumped off the motorcycle and...
Wait. And you jumped off the motorcycle at 45 miles an hour?
Yeah. I went sliding down the freeway.
This is Touched by Heaven. Everyday encounters with God. Those moments when heaven and earth collide and we see God. We see His hand reaching out to us, attempting to get our attention, inviting us into a closer relationship. Here we share stories of encounter with angels, divine intervention, prophetic dreams, near-death experiences, big and little God incidents. In today's episode, we have a miraculous healing, we have divine intervention, and we have angels, good and bad ones. Hi, I'm your host, Trapper Jack. Welcome. So glad you're here today. This episode called Someone Keeps Saving My Life.
Man, God didn't spare my life 3 times for no reason.
Yeah, He has stories, 3 life-saving stories, and we're going to get to those. This is Chris, by the way. Chris is from Houston, Texas, originally from Louisiana, and he has these 3 life-saving stories. But that's not originally why I called Chris. I had heard about this other story about his grandfather. His grandfather's about ready to turn 90, and back when he was in his early 60s, something medically mysterious happened to grandfather.
Honestly, Trapper Jack, I don't know what caused it. At the time, I was in the 7th or 8th grade. I was in middle school. I remember one day coming home, my mom telling me, "Papa can't see. I'm gonna need you to sleep in the room with him to make sure you can get him to the restroom and help him get back to his room." So I would sleep in the room on the floor in his room. This went on for maybe a month and a half, maybe a little longer than that, man. I don't remember exactly how long, but I know he was completely blind.
Right.
My mom and him took him to the hospital. The doctors didn't know what caused it.
Then, one day, seemingly out of nowhere, came that touched by heaven moment.
You know, I just remember coming home one day and my mom, she told me, she said, "Papa said he seen his angels today." After my grandmother passed, he would always say, "My angels came and seen me. My angels came and seen me." You know, I was young. I didn't think much of it until this particular day. My mom said she was in the kitchen and my grandfather called in the living room and he told her, "Reen, my angel said, come and put your hand behind my head and pray with him." So she said she started praying for him. I know when I came home from school that day, my mom said, "Wave your hand in front of Papa's face and see what happens." So I went and waved my hand in front of his face and he flinched. He said, "Hey, watch your hand." And ever since that day, he's never went blind again. But I know he was completely blind because I had to walk him around the house and get him where he needed to go. And for him to get his sight back, I don't know what came to visit him or what he's seen, but I know what we experienced.
His angels, so he's always had this connection with angels and stuff, huh?
Yeah. My grandfather, his life is an interesting one, Trapper Jack. I mean, things that he's experienced. He's been struck by lightning, bit by a snake.
Are you serious?
Man, I'm telling you, man, Trapper Jack, if I was to tell you this, it's almost unreal. Just for me to tell somebody, that's why I don't say much about it because it's so wow. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he used to work on the rice farm, walking the fields, and he was struck by lightning. Got ran over by a tractor, was bit by a snake. I mean, Papa's been through it.
But he's at his angels. He's at his angels. So
yes.
that's
Ever
awesome.
since my grandmother passed, I mean, he's had his angels.
I wish everybody could see their angels. Everyone would be so much nicer if everyone could just see their angels, you know?
Yes, indeed. On the other side of things, I don't know if you believe in people being possessed or...
Yeah.
Okay. My baby sister.
This involves Chris's younger sister, who got heavily into drugs and alcohol to the point where they just ran her life for a couple of years, just completely ran her life. And it crossed over into spiritual warfare, as he will get into.
And for a long time, we didn't know what was going on. It was just getting worse and worse. So one weekend I went home and she was at my mom's house. So when I got there, my mom, I said, "Where's Courtney?" My mom said, "She's in the back room." So when I walked in the room, I looked at my little sister, and when I looked at her, I said, "Man, what's wrong with you?" I said, "Man, I just want my sister back. I don't know who you are. I just want my sister back." And when I said that to this thing, my sister or this thing looked at me in my eyes and said, "You can't have her back. She's mine." And man, I had chills run through my body. And my sister did like she was gonna reach out and touch my chest and was like, she said, "I'm not worried about you. You one of my weak ones." When I tell you I had chills run through my whole body,
Saying to you that you're one of my weak ones?
it said to me, "I'm not worried about you. You're one of my weak ones." That
Huh.
was the exact words out of this thing's
Do you
mouth.
think you were weak spiritually at the time? What do you think you were?
Yeah, I know I was.
Okay. That's honest.
Yeah.
But being weak in a spiritual sense isn't the same as being possessed. It's not what was going on with your sister and what was going on with you were two totally separate issues
Totally.
here. Yeah.
Totally different.
But it had your sister.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
How old was she then? How old?
32, 33.
Okay.
She just made 35.
Ooh, this isn't that long ago. This isn't that long ago.
No.
Just recapping all of that, you have Chris looking at his sister saying, "What's wrong with you? I just want my sister back. I don't know who you are. I just want my sister back." And this voice comes back, "You can't have her back. She's mine. And you don't worry me. You're one of my weak ones." What's happened since?
She's sober now. She's been clean for over a year now, and she's doing good. I mean,
Is it out of her?
yeah. The thing is out of her. My mom and them are really heavy in the church, and it was one weekend they had a revival, and they brought her up to get prayer, and they cast some devils out of her. But it seemed like, man, they were casting devils out of her, and then she would go back and do the same thing and come back, seemed like worse, and they would cast more devils out of her. And
Hey, that's biblical. That's biblical. You cast it out, but if she wants it back, more will come. That's biblical.
yes,
You got to be careful. They have to want it out. If you force it out and they don't want it out, it's going to get worse. So she had to
Right.
want it out. Did she finally want it out?
yeah,
Tell me about that.
it took her to make that decision to get the help and want to turn away from the way she was living, because it was almost like she would come to church, and I think a lot of it was because of my mom and my dad was always like, "You need to get saved. You need to come to church. You need to get right. You need to get," almost like trying to force her. I don't know if I had to talk with my wife about it. I said, "Man, I don't know if they're going about it the right way. I know, we want the best for Courtney, but you can't force her to be saved. If anything, it's going to cause her to rebel and not want to be around you." And I think a lot of that was going on for a while until she just got fed up and was ready to change her life, because she would come around, go to church, and it seemed like once she would get back from church, she was just cutting up worse. She would go up to get prayed for and then get home, and then she'll be gone for days at a time. And
We have free will. We have free will, Chris, and God gave us free will. You got it right. You have it. You just can't force church on people. You just can't. You can encourage and all that, but especially if you got something like she's got there. I would, I think when you have young children, yeah, we're going to church, because that's what you do as a parent. But
right.
when you're in your 30s, I'm sorry, it's your decision now. So
Right.
what was it? You say she had enough. What was the turning point that you saw?
I think the turning point was when she almost died. She had OD, and I think after that, that was kind of like the final straw. Like, man, I need to get myself together. She was maybe 90 pounds. I could see all the bones in my sister's face. She looked like death. Her skin was gray looking. She looked like death, dude. And they had to go in and do a surgery and rearrange her insides, remove her intestines and move it from one side to the other side. And because her body had started eating up itself, I mean, she was pretty much dead. She was checking out of here. And I think that was the last straw. And then when she came back from the surgery, she started running around a little bit. Then she ended up going to jail for like 6 months. And then after that, she came home and she's been clean and doing good ever since.
So is there a religious or God part in this recovery? Not necessarily.
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
I mean, I think it just, like you said, I mean, we all have free will. And I think this time, I mean, feeling like she was about to go was the eye opener for her. Like now, she did her body so bad to where she's still having problems from when she was on the drugs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the whole month of April, she was in the hospital. They had to go back in, remove her intestines again, and remove some scar tissue because she was having blockages, and she was in the hospital the whole month of April.
What was causing the blockages?
They said it was some scar tissue from the initial surgery because they had to remove her intestines and they rearranged her insides because, I mean,
because of the drugs and alcohol?
Yeah, because she was constantly just going, wasn't eating. She was just being high for like days at a time. And then when she would finally come to my mom's house, she would come in, she would eat one big old meal, sleep all day, and then she'll be gone again for like 4 to 5 days, just running hard.
Did you see any other occasion other than the one where the thing was speaking through her?
The only other thing that I seen was when she was at church and they were walking up to the altar and she was like foaming at the mouth and like fighting, not wanting to go up to the altar. And when the pastor went to lay hands on it, it's like she bobbed, like ducked it. And then he came back and laid hands on it and she just started screaming and get off of me, don't touch me, get off of me, and screaming and fighting and foaming and spitting out the mouth and stuff. That was scary. And that's the only other thing I've seen with her.
One day, Chris just asked his sister bluntly, how do you get there? How did you become possessed? What did you do to make that ugly step?
And she told me the reason it got so bad was because her baby's father used to beat her up. And she said she had got tired of him beating up on her. So one day, she said she was sitting in the living room and she said, that thing come inside of me.
That's when she invited it in.
She invited it in. She said, L word, come inside of me. And she said when she did that, it's like she had got real strong. And from that day on, her baby father couldn't beat her up no more. She used to beat him up and he was scared of her. But she said that's what she did to keep him off of her. But it was all because of the drugs and all of that was all mixed in it too. But yeah, that's what brought her that far in it.
Wow. Okay. What a delightful, sibling relationship. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, when I go to Louisiana, I'll give you a call because I'll have my sister talk to you and let her tell you her testimony about what she experienced while going through that and what got her there. I'll let you speak with my mom about my grandfather and his situation when he was blind. I mean, I've seen a few things.
Yeah, Chris has seen a few things. I thought we'd just kind of jump in here for kind of a quick recap thus far, the takeaways thus far. What did God just say so far? Going back to the grandfather, I just see God's mercy in sending the grandfather angels. After his wife had passed away, just sending angels. You know, your wife's good, All's good. Have some angels every now and then, a little reassurance. And so he's been seeing his angels. How beautiful. The other thing that jumps out at me is, once again, how God loves including us in the process of healing. Pray for each other. He just keeps stressing that. Pray for one another. Pray for one another. He sends the angels to the grandfather, the blind grandfather at this point, and it's time for a healing, but let's include Chris's mom, the grandfather's daughter, in the process. Put your hand, what was the back of the neck or whatever it was, and pray for the grandfather, and then the vision is restored. God could have just as easily just done it, you know? He didn't even need to include angels, just do it. Nope, he sends the angels. Angels, yeah, okay, I need my daughter involved in this to pray. Okay, and then daughter cooperates. We're supposed to be praying for one another because prayer moves the hand of God. Literally, it did. I thought that was just beautiful. Just once again, God's mercy wanting us to cooperate, co-create with him. A beautiful lesson in prayer. What else? Oh, his sister. His sister with the drugs and the alcohol and the demons and all that, the takeaway. What I'm left with is just how much they hate us. Just how much the demons hate us to drive us towards, take the drugs, take the alcohol. Oh, yeah, you definitely want us inside you to protect you because, you tired of getting beat up? Yeah, let us in there. Yeah, this is try to turn that into a good thing. Just the cunning nature. And if you're still one of those who doesn't believe in the devil, because God wouldn't allow that, why not? We have free will. We're given free will. There is a battle for our souls in this life. There is just an out-and-out battle for our souls. More drugs, more alcohol to drive someone to death and then to take their soul. That all said, we certainly can pray for her and her road to recovery, right? Let's do that right now. A prayer for, I think he said her name was Courtney. So Chris, a prayer for your sister and for you from the Touched by Heaven crowd here. Prayer moves the hand of God. Our intention. God is reading our hearts right now. Okay? We're going to go back to Chris now and just some things that have been on his mind of late.
My prayer lately has been for God to just show me what's my purpose, why I'm here. Just show me. Because I went to church Sunday and I hadn't been in a long time because of a few things that happened that caused me to walk away from the church. But I went to church Sunday for Father's Day, and that message was for me. I'm just looking to live a better life right now. I'm tired of living like I've been living.
Why? How do you think you've been living?
I've been just living. You know what I mean? I haven't been doing anything crazy. You know what I mean? It's not.
You want God to show you the purpose.
I know it's more to it than what I'm doing. It's more to life than just, I guess right now I'm feeling like I'm just going through the motions. I go to work, I come home, play with the kids, see my wife, and it's more to life than that. Man, God didn't spare my life 3 times for no reason. I look at life so different, Trapper Jack. Just my view of life is so different because when you come so close to checking out of this place, man, you look at it so different. In 2006, I was hit by a car.
The time he got hit by a car, talk about being in the wrong place at the wrong time, back in 2006, he's standing on a sidewalk. He's on a sidewalk. And there was a gentleman a bit angry at security in this particular area, and the gentleman decided to take out his anger by driving down the sidewalk where Chris was. Chris dove out of the way, but not quite soon enough. The car hit him in the leg.
Broke my femur, and the way my leg was broken, the bone was pressing against my aortic artery, that main artery.
Doctors told his mom there must have been somebody praying for Chris. Because the way his leg broke, the femur, that's the big bone in the upper leg, the way it broke and then put pressure on the artery probably should have broken. And if it breaks, then he's just going to bleed out. But the artery held.
And then in 2017, I got in a motorcycle wreck on I-10, a 5-car wreck. I walked away. The guy in the Suburban in front of me said he couldn't move, and I walked away.
From a motorcycle accident.
On a motorcycle. It made the news and everything, Trapper Jack.
Yeah.
And I know it wasn't nothing but God, because that particular morning when I got up, I started my motorcycle. Then I cut it off, went back inside, got my car keys, started to leave in the car and said, well, if I drive the car, I'm going to be late today. Went back, got on the motorcycle, took off, got down the street, forgot my gloves, turned around to go back home and said, no, if I go home, I'm going to be late. So then I go ahead and take off, get on the freeway. But right before I got on the freeway, I just started praying. And I hadn't prayed in a while, man. So I just started praying. It was one of those prayers. It wasn't one of them quick prayers. It was one of those prayers like, God, I need you. You know what I mean? And once I got on the freeway, I took off and I was running a little bit. And then something just told me, man, just slow down. And I slowed down. And when the accident happened, I was doing maybe about 45, 50 miles an hour. But I walked away, man, with just some road rash on my hands and some stitches in my chin. That was it. And I have a picture with me standing up, talking to the paramedics next to my motorcycle, and you could see a Suburban flipped over in the screenshot, and is a sky view from the helicopter. You could see an 18-wheeler, you could see the van, you could see a truck that caused the wreck, and everything on the picture.
Well, what about you? Did you go sliding? Did you go flying? What happened to you?
Yeah, well, before the van hit, when I seen the little van hit the vehicle in the lane next to me, I jumped off the motorcycle and I went sliding down the freeway. And my biggest fear was being run over by the cars behind me. But matter of fact, I'll send you the picture when we hang up.
Wait a minute. Wait. You see an accident happening up in front of you and to the right, and you jumped off the motorcycle at 45 miles an hour.
Yeah, because the accident happened. Hold on 1 second. Give me. This is your cell phone?
Yeah. Yeah. You want? I'll wait. Go ahead.
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna send it to you now. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, it's coming your way now.
Okay. All right. So you're jumping off your motorcycle at 45 miles an hour.
Yeah, because it was either jump or else be at the mercy of the impact.
Because it was going to be because it was coming your way.
When you see the picture, you can see the van shot across the freeway. I just jumped because it kept coming across, and then the van hit a Suburban that was in front of me. That Suburban flipped over, slid through the fast lane, and hit the wall. Did you get the picture yet?
I'm the blind guy. I'm going to assume so. It's okay. No, I'll have my wife describe it to me after the fact. Okay, so I'll see it. Don't worry. I'll see it. Don't.
I didn't know you was blind, Trapper Jack.
Yeah, it just happened a minute ago. I don't know what happened.
What? Like
I saw my angels and then I was fine. No, I'm legally blind. Not totally blind. I still see some. But don't worry. I'll see what I can see of it. But my wife will describe it to me too. But you described it beautifully. So no sweat.
Man.
Yeah. Okay.
So
anyway, so you're jumping off your motorcycle and somehow, that's amazing. You weren't all scuffed up.
Well, I had on my helmet. I had on my jacket.
Sure.
But I forgot my gloves. So my hands.
Well, what if? Now, if you've gotten on that motorcycle when you were originally going to, or gotten in the car when you were originally going to, you'd have been ahead of that stuff, wouldn't you?
Right.
So you can't exactly say all those delays saved you, but somehow something saved you. What do you think saved you?
Man, I know it was the prayer, because when your wife described the picture to you, my motorcycle is in the middle of everything. And that's the thing that get me, is because my motorcycle is in the middle of everything. Like everything is around me. There's no vehicle close to my bike, dude. Like God just protected me. And you know what, Trouble Jack, is weird, because it's almost like I felt this thing coming. A few weeks before, I told my wife, man, I think I'm going to sell my motorcycle. And she was like, why? You love riding that thing. I was like, I don't love it no more. I said, I'm actually kind of scared of it now. Like, I don't know. I just feel like something's going to happen. Not knowing, it's like I felt it coming.
You mentioned this prayer, too. You mentioned the prayer. And for some reason, as you're getting on the highway there, you're suddenly saying this prayer for what? Protection or what?
I hadn't prayed in a long time. I don't even know why I was praying that particular morning. I don't know. Well, I know now why I was praying, but, at the time.
It's like your angel was prodding you. It's almost like your angel was prodding you, you know?
Yeah.
Somebody was prodding you. Somebody was nudging you.
Yes, indeed.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's the good things.
3 life-saving moments. Divine intervention for sure. The last one being the motorcycle.
The first time I was when I was hit by a car. The second time, it was maybe 2 months, 3 months after my daughter was born. I was on my way from work, fell asleep at the wheel, flipped my car like 3 times, tore it up. I didn't hit anybody, but I walked away with a sprained ankle. That's it. I'll send you that picture also so your wife can can explain that one to you.
I tell you,
That
buddy,
happened.
God is saving you. You say you don't know what your purpose is, but He sure does. He's
Exactly.
somehow, even though you've been connected, disconnected, you don't have that perfect connection with God. None of us do. But there is something about you that He is saving. You've got to be a good guy, Chris. Otherwise, I don't think this is happening. Somewhere
Right.
there's a good guy there, right? Do people say you're a good guy?
Yes, sir.
There's a kindness about you. There's some kind of kindness about you. So I call it living within the bubble. Somehow you're still within the bubble. He's protecting you. And you know what? They're going to be telling you real soon about what your purpose is. You're going to get your message here real soon. Real soon, okay?
Man, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. And then we're going to talk when you're down in Louisiana. What'd you say, a couple of months from now?
No, it'll be in a few weeks.
Oh, okay. Okay, we'll talk. Well, I want to talk again then. Before you go down there, let me know when you're going down. And
Okay.
and we'll talk again when you're down there. We'll get a this could be a long conversation. Get all of you on the phone. But we'll talk. But by then you might even know what the heck that purpose is. In case you don't know already, you might already know, but just aren't acknowledging it.
Right.
So we'll see.
Man, it's nice talking to you, Trapper Jack, man. Thanks for the call.
You too, Chris. If you haven't checked it out yet, have you checked out the Touched by Heaven podcast yet?
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
You fit right in.
Man, I hope so. Hopefully it'll help someone out there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, buddy. We'll talk again. Okay, Chris?
Yes, sir. You have a good one.
All right, you too. God bless you.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, bye now. Thanks, Chris. The takeaway here, what did God just say in that last part of this? I think you're selling yourself short, Chris. I think He's been protecting you. I think you're living more your purpose than maybe you know, and there's more to be revealed. I think you're turning a corner. I think there's no question you're turning a corner. Anytime you start talking about purpose of life and I need to change my ways and all that, I'd say you're here, and you're going to find out more of what your purpose is in the near future. I think you've turned a heck of a corner here just recently. I really do. And thank you for your stories, Chris. We appreciate it very much. I want to do a shout out. Let's see. Oh, Tony and Betty, Alexinas, thank you so much for your support through Patreon. This is your official shout out. Thank you for your support and your friendship. If you want to help support us as well in these weekly podcasts, you can go to patreon.com and search for Trapper Jack, or you can go to this episode 63 at touchedbyheaven.net and just click your way through to Patreon. Thank you for that. Thank you also for yours. I need your story. You haven't shared your story. You're sitting on your story. You're being very secretive. Yes, you are. What's your encounter with angels, divine interventions, God incidents, prophetic dreams, visions, near-death experiences? Love to hear your story. Here at touchedbyheaven.net. Contact me here. And I will see you next week here at Touched by Heaven. Everyday encounters with God. I'm Trapper Jack.